Rather than seeing behaviors as something to get rid of, we have to flip our lens into behavior is communication. What is this behavior communicating to me right now? What is it showing me is needed in the moment? And then there's a response that I need to bring to that, but it's different to see it as communication.
Yes. All right, well, we have Abby Christian with us today. We're so excited to have you with us, Abby.
So excited to be here.
I really believe that the Lord is establishing you as a leading voice for trauma-informed, honoring care.
Wow.
And you've been a children's pastor for almost 10 years. You are a TBRI practitioner, and you coach people and you're training. And I would love for you to share a little bit about what it means to be a TBRI practitioner and what you're putting your hand to right now in this season.
Yes. So TBRI is something called trust-based relational intervention. And it's a care model that is science-backed and was developed. It actually came out of Texas Christian University, but they developed it as a way of serving children and youth who have experienced abuse, neglect, trauma. And it really is a care model that just informs the way that we respond and interact and care for those children. And so it's specifically designed to for sure serve those children and youth. But what I love about TBRI is it actually, in my opinion, is so connected to kingdom values.
Yes.
And is actually informs something that's like just good for everyone and for all of the kids that we serve. And so we are in a really sweet season. It's been fun to learn a lot and become a TBRI practitioner, but also have the opportunity to start some different training programs and internships in this season where we're just trying to empower the everyday believer with skills and understanding and really values in the area of trauma-informed care, attachment, God's heart for children, how to move towards sensory needs. The list just goes like on and on of ways that we can come around children and youth.
Wow.
When you think about these like training internships that you're running,
Yes.
who is this for? Is that for people that are children's pastors at local churches and just for them? Or who would be a good fit for an internship like that?
I would say anyone who's interacting with children. And so I'm thinking about the teachers, I'm thinking about childcare workers, I am thinking about children's pastors, but I'm also thinking about nurses and paramedics and people who are interacting with children, moms and dads, on a regular basis, and people who have so much potential to influence the next generation in a powerful way.
One of the things that I see you always infusing in people is you're going, okay, I have all of these tools that I can invest, and there's all this knowledge that I can invest, but over and over again, I see you investing a heart posture or a lens for people. Could you just speak to that a little bit?
Yes. Yeah, I think that it's really beautiful to see that science is actually just following what is true in the kingdom.
Yes.
And that God values children so much. We see that in the word. He's very explicit about that, not just in what's written in the word, but what we see him doing in the word. And so I feel like as we are training people in tools are amazing, science is amazing, but tethering it back to his heart is what actually creates long-lasting impact, because caring for children is relational, and it's a relational work. It's a work that is like sanctifying you along the way and making you more like him. It's not easy work, it's hard work. Because it is work that makes you more like him.
That's right.
But I think all of the tools are just tools if you don't have the lens of his heart for children.
Wow.
And so when we tether those things to him, man, there's no end to the impact that they bring and what is able to be fostered, not just for children that you're investing in continually, but children that you're running into at the park, and the way that you're seeing children everywhere you go. And then in turn, that changes the way that you're seeing people everywhere you go.
Right. That's right.
It seems so basic and simple. And it's like, yeah, of course. So we value children.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Yet, have you seen that isn't maybe as foundational as we would hope for it to be for people?
Yeah, I'd be even curious of things people say.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, I don't know if you do value children.
Yes.
Or what you've witnessed over the years.
Yes.
Being in the care world.
Yes.
And what you've noticed and observed to pinpoint, wow,
yes,
we say that we value children, but these are the things,
yes,
these are some of the mindsets.
Yeah, I think it's in the really like micro ways that shows up. So it's in the way we talk about children. It's in the way that we respond to them, our posture when we're talking about them. So it's things like even parents coming up to a teacher and saying, wow, that's like such hard work. Thanks so much for doing that. I could never do what you do. I think those are the moments, or parents that when they're separating from their kids, I just need a break so bad. It was such a long day. Or I'm just looking to get away from my kids.
Yep.
And
take them.
Yes. And it's like we know, like we all can be in a conversation and know, well, I know you actually do love your children.
Of course.
And same thing for teachers. You do love the work. That's why you signed up for that work.
Yeah.
But we don't always show that in the way that we're responding or talking about it, or our posture along the way.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so
and
true.
a lot of times that can happen because there's behaviors.
Yes.
And when we're talking behaviors, sometimes behaviors get intense,
1,000%.
right? So yelling, tantrums, just direct disobedience, ignoring. There's like a whole gamut of behaviors, thousands that you've witnessed.
Yes.
Thousands of behaviors. And I'm curious, over the years, how have you seen behaviors maybe mishandled?
Have you ever seen behaviors mishandled, Abby?
Oh, without a doubt. Yes. I think that behaviors is such an interesting thing to zero in on, because it is the predominant work that we have an opportunity to do with children.
Yeah.
But it is mishandled because it's not seen as an opportunity. It is seen as something that is offensive to us, that we want to shut down, that is inconvenient to us. We want to get rid of it as quickly as possible and move forward toward the goal that is convenient.
Comfort.
We want to move quickly past it. And I do think that is one of the number one things that deters people from wanting to work with children or feeling frustrated by children, instead of normalizing that is a part of the work and it's actually an opportunity. Our greatest opportunity, I would say, to invest in children is found in those moments.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're saying behaviors are an opportunity. And I don't know if I like that fully.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think
true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I think it all goes back to the lens and the perspective that we're carrying about behaviors. And so rather than seeing behaviors as something to get rid of, we have to flip our lens into behavior is communication. What is this behavior communicating to me right now? What is it showing me is needed in the moment? And then there's a response that I need to bring to that, but it's different to see it as communication.
Yes. Okay, speak to what for the person going, what do you even mean by that?
Yeah.
What could behaviors be trying to communicate?
Right. Because I think that there's this almost this tension around like, no, the behavior is obstinance.
It's just bad. You're a bad kid.
Yes.
The labeling that comes with that.
I mean, you wouldn't even imagine the things that you hear in grocery stores.
Yes.
And parking lots and things like that. But I think that, that goes on the value that you were just talking about. But I think just the general, how are you discerning this is just direct disobedience and this is rebellion?
Yes.
And then you've got the there's something else. There's
For sure.
communication.
Yes.
Or is it all communication?
Great question. I think it's all communication,
Yeah.
but I think all behavior is communicating different types of needs. So it might be a practical need that child is needing in that moment. Man, they are so overtired. They are so hungry. They are actually needing something. That premise even goes back to when we have infants, right? And infants are crying. They can't speak words. And so they are crying to communicate that they need their diaper changed, that they need food.
Wow.
They're crying to communicate basic needs.
Wow.
And so if we drum it all the way back to that, behavior is communication from the moment a child is born. And it is our job as adults to teach them and scaffold them in skills and being able to communicate effectively and appropriately in different moments. And so there's basic needs. I also think behavior communicates lies that kids are believing where there's opportunity for truth. And so as believers, there is much opportunity to see, man, what are you actually believing about yourself that isn't true, that I can actually bring truth to in this moment.
Yeah.
And so if our lens is, I need to make this stop, then we are labeling them as you're a bad kid and we're responding as such in that lens, and that's reinforcing something that is not true about who God designed them to be.
Wow.
And then I also think that
Man, that's so hard though.
I know.
Just stop.
Just cut it out.
just stop.
Okay, keep on going. Yes.
I think the other piece is that behavior can also show us like immature giftings or immature skills that haven't been established
Yeah,
yet.
Interesting.
Strengths. Wow.
And so through the years, I think I'm often seeing students that could be quickly labeled as you're bossy. I'll even use that example about myself as a
I got
kid.
that one.
Yeah. I often was receiving feedback that I was bossy, but I had a gift of leadership all my
right.
life.
Right. Wow.
And being able to speak to that and see behavior as, hey, there's actually a bid for someone to tell me who I am right
on.
now.
Wow.
Come
wow,
on.
wow, wow.
Is another way that we see behavior getting communicated.
Come on. Wow.
And then there's also just our sin nature and things that children are working out. I don't want to do what you told me to do right now. And it is up to us to shepherd them and disciple them in learning to be obedient and walking the way that they should go.
Yes.
And they can't learn that on their own. They need us to scaffold them. And so if we miss opportunities to shepherd them in that, man, they're missing out because we didn't seize that moment to teach them.
Wow.
You're using this word scaffold.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Can you speak more to what does that look like?
Yeah. Scaffolding is this idea that children need our assistance to build skills in almost every area. And so when you think of a child learning to walk, that starts by someone actually like taking their hands and holding them up and for the very first time. And it's like, okay, I've got one hand in each finger and I'm holding you up. And they're feeling for the very first time their feet on the ground and what it feels like to have their weight standing up, hitting the ground.
Wow.
And that is what starts the process for them of like, oh, I want to start to feel that feeling again. I'm going to start learning how to pull myself up on things. And then with time, we're starting to like move them along to walk. And we're essentially adding our weight and providing a lot of care in as much care or as attention is needed in order for them to master each level of a skill. And then we're slowly backing away so that they can build independence in that area. And scaffolding is needed in almost every area. It's needed in emotional skills. It's needed in practical like life skills like walking.
Eating.
All across the board. If kids are figuring it out on their own, no wonder things are going awry. And if our expectation is, why aren't you doing what I want you to do? If we're thinking to ourselves, I never taught you how to do that.
Right.
It's actually a really unrealistic expectation that actually isn't honoring even the biological framework
Absolutely.
of how children were created.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of an example that we could break down of where scaffolding, because it's in everything.
Yes.
Okay, your kids don't naturally just stay at the dinner table.
Yes.
But you have a value of, we want to have family meals.
Yes.
And we want our children to stay at the table. Or maybe it's even at school. You need to stay at your table or your desk or whatever the context is.
Yeah.
Can you break down like an example of scaffolding?
Yeah, let's use the example of sitting at the table at home, or that being a value around for our family, that we would be eating dinner together. I would be thinking as a parent, man, how can we back that all the way up to even when my children are really young, before they even have language. And so I'm putting my infant in their high chair for dinner and I'm speaking over them. Man, it feels so good to sit together at the dinner table. And I love when you're with us at dinner. When we eat dinner, we sit at the table.
Yes.
And you're like putting language to something that they're experiencing, but you're fully doing it for them.
Yep.
That's really how scaffolding works, is we're doing the whole thing in the beginning, and then we're slowly building them in independence. So eventually, an infant doesn't need to be in a high chair, and we are helping them when it's almost time for dinner to like front load or proactively communicate, okay, we're going to be having dinner in 5 minutes, let's say. And where do we eat dinner? We eat dinner at the table. We sit in our chair at dinner. Do we run around the room during dinner? No, we sit at the table. And sometimes when we try things for the first time, things aren't going to go as smooth as we're expecting. Maybe we front loaded and it still doesn't go the way
real.
that's real. And that's most times how things happen. But then we're giving language to it again as we help them to return to the table, sit down again, and actually naming for them, remember, we talked about this. We're going to sit at the dinner table. We love to be together. We eat dinner at the table.
Yep.
Wow.
The preemptive work is so significant.
Yes.
And is so often the thing that's missed.
Yes.
Because we get surprised by circumstances.
Right.
So we're headed to the dinner table, or I'm a teacher and I'm moving my classroom from this classroom to the lunchroom.
Yes.
Or whatever it is, like transitions are a really hard time. And then we get to that transition, we sit at the table, or we end up in that new classroom and it's chaos. It's not working. And it's like, shoot, now I'm trying to address the issue and I should have done the preemptive work.
Yes.
And so I think, any tools to be, I'm like, could we drill into that any further of preparing children with preemptive work for the environments that they're going to be stepping into?
Yeah.
Because what it does, the problems that ensue that we've experienced is when you're not doing this, it's not just like, oh, that was a little inconvenient. No, it's like it can be explosive.
1000%.
It can be really high emotion. It can be, no, I'm doing this.
Yes.
And there can be...
It escalates.
Yes. Very quickly.
Transitions just across the board.
I think about we're taking our kids into a store.
For sure.
And before we're going in, we're naming, this is how we behave in a store, or at a certain age starting to say, how do we behave in a store? What do we do? What do we not do?
Yes.
Preemptively saying, we're not buying anything today.
Yes. Yes.
Pro tip
Don't
for the
ask.
parents.
Yeah.
Don't even ask. Like, we're not doing any of that, so that we are not hashing it out once we are indoors. Once we're in that space, if we have not prepared, we've already lost the battle.
Yes. And it's going to take way longer. When I'm coaching teachers even, that's something we're talking about all the time, is it's going to take the same amount of time no matter what. Actually might take more time if we have to remedy it on the back end. It is worth taking your time to prep them on the front end. In science, there's even this idea that has informed even how pediatricians give parents different information. And it's this idea that in transition moments, there is like a key moment where you have the opportunity to influence the direction of where something is going to go or how things are going to unravel. It's called a touch point moment. And so as parents, as teachers, as anyone who's caring for kids that are leading them through transitions, I think that is a key to be thinking ahead of time, even if it's just 5 minutes before you're about to lead those children through that experience, knowing, hey, there is a moment before we go into this transition where I have the opportunity to steer how is this process going to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I do it after we've already started the process, it's already too late because things have been set in motion that cannot be taken out of motion.
Right.
And that's where we end up in messes.
Yes.
Or if we try to give information way too early, then kids are not thinking about that.
You've forgotten it.
So
Right,
let's say you're going to the grocery store and you talked to them at the very beginning of the morning when they're eating breakfast. Today we're going to go to the grocery store at 2 o'clock. And this is all the expectations of what that's going to look like. They are not going to remember that by 2 o'clock.
No. Yes.
And so your touch point moment is going to be really key, probably in the car on the way to the grocery store, because we're almost there.
Yep.
It's almost in sight, but we haven't fully shifted into being in the store yet.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
identifying those key moments of speaking into things is going to be so key.
Wow.
I think if parents just took away every time we're in the car,
Yes.
as soon as we're about 5 minutes from our destination,
Yes.
I am doing like a briefing
Yes.
for my children
My
of
goodness.
where it is that I'm telling you, it's like it
No, this
changed
is
our
a
life.
changer.
And when we
Yes.
forget, you pay.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're almost to church.
Yes.
This is what we're gonna do at church today. Da 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 da. And you're walking them through it. And I mean, even speaking to giving them a 5-minute heads up.
That's right.
Anytime you're going to transition kids, you never want to surprise a child with a transition.
That's right.
And this is where you see so many behaviors pop up.
So many.
Could you speak to the importance of naming, a 5-minute heads up, a 1-minute
Yeah.
heads up, things like that?
Yeah, I feel like we always recommend like a 3-pronged approach of like, I'm giving you a 5-minute warning, a 3-minute warning, and a 1-minute warning, and then we're transitioning. But I think maybe what gets missed most often in transitions and even those warnings is not being connected to children as we are giving that prompt. And so often as adults, we're in a hurry. We're like, okay, I want to do the right thing. I want to prep them. And we're just lobbing into the air. All right, 5-minute warning. We're going to be transitioning to this soon. But they may not even be listening. They're not tracking. You have not actually connected and ensured you are understanding we're about to transition.
Yes.
And for children who are focused in on something, let's say they're playing.
Exactly.
And we're just lobbing something into the air and assuming, that got into their ears and they're tracking. That's just not the case.
Right.
And so we want to honor children by connecting with them in those key moments. And it doesn't have to be a big thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's hey, can I get your eyes for a minute? Can you stop your body for a minute? I want to tell you where we're going to be headed next. We have 5 minutes. Everyone say 5 minutes.
So
or
you're
3
having
minutes.
them repeat back to you.
Yes, to ensure that we're connected as we're moving forward. Otherwise, I can be checking things off the list, but we're not relationally ready to go together.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
When we're thinking about, let's say didn't set expectations, we're not preparing our kids or children in our classroom, whatever it is, and there's behaviors that are happening.
Yeah.
What are some tools when it's like, hey, ship has sailed. We're in the heat of the moment now.
We're in the pit, everyone.
Yeah.
They're just so
And,
real.
The wind is blowing, the heat just got turned up.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a firestorm. Okay.
That's
It's a
really
firestorm.
good.
We're
Yeah.
in it.
Yep.
What are some tools that we can use as we care for kids?
Yeah. I think the first thing I'm always thinking about is connection. And we need to connect in order for me to be able to correct what is happening right now. And so I would say some of the key components of being connected are things like eye contact, our posture. I'm not shouting from across the room. I'm moving towards them to ensure, hey, you're tracking. We're connected in this moment. I'm giving them my eyes. I think that's a really, really key area is eye contact. Studies say that parts of the brain actually light up, like the attachment parts of the brain light up when we're making eye contact, which is why it's so important what type of eye contact we're giving.
Yeah.
It creates a fear response in the brain if the eye contact we're giving in a moment where we're bringing discipline is like angry eyes.
Right.
And I think that is maybe even something growing up many of us experience where it's like, give me your eyes, look at me, like that
That's
type of
scary.
tone. And what happens in moments where a fear response is triggered is our brain actually goes online, our brain starts to go offline,
Right.
which turns off the learning part of the brain. And if we're seeking to take this as an opportunity to provide correction that is going to be long lasting and effective, we need the learning part of the brain to be online. And so connection in how we're moving towards is kind of the first place to start, I would say.
Wow.
So the behavior is happening. We're in the heat of the moment. You're moving toward. Talk a little bit about, tone of voice, body language.
Yes.
You spoke to eye contact, which is really good. What else?
Yeah, I'm getting down on their level. I'm not a person that's looming or towering over them. I'm down on their level. I'm making eye contact. I might even use physical, like light physical touch as a way to create connection. Hey, can you give me your hands right now? Can you give me your eyes? So I'm asking for those things as a way for us to connect. And I think as an adult, I'm also using that moment of creating connection as a way to ground myself in their value.
Okay, really
and
important.
worth.
Yes.
Wow.
And because sometimes we're feeling heightened in that moment.
Absolutely.
Most times we're feeling heightened in that moment. And I think slowing things down enough to actually pause for a second and be like, you are so precious to me.
Right.
And we are connected. My response is going to be leveled at your behavior, not at you as a person. And your value is not in question to me in this moment, but your behavior isn't acceptable.
That's right.
And I'm not comfortable because I care about you to leave you continuing in this state.
That's right.
We need to fix something that is broken right now so that we can move forward together.
right.
And it's for your good.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I want you to keep on going, talking about some of these tools because I'm hearing you say you're moving towards them.
Yes.
Sometimes in those moments, we don't feel like moving towards because of maybe big emotions or things like that.
Yes.
And so we're not feeling the warm and fuzzies going,
Totally.
oh, I just see your identity and your
Yes.
destiny in God and how
So
valuable
real.
you are. But we can still use tools
Yes.
that we've learned for those moments that can help us as caretakers, as parents
Yes.
in the heat of the moment. So you're talking about moving towards, you're talking about eye contact, any other thing that you would add to some of those tools?
Yeah, I think paying attention to what our voice sounds like. And so just like you were saying, we're maybe not feeling warm and fuzzy. So I'm not going to insinuate that our voice needs to be like, oh, good job. Like we can have an authoritative voice that means business, that draws attention, but we can do that in a way that isn't yelling or screaming or scary.
Right.
And
Right.
so I would even say with that, using few words and talking in a way that is slower. Sometimes when we're feeling heightened, it's normal that we start talking faster. Our voice starts getting higher pitched. And we actually want to be intentional to slow down in those moments and go, okay, I'm going to use less words. My vocal quality is probably, or tone is probably a little bit lower, to try to slow things down for them and to slow things down for me.
Wow.
I think another really powerful tool that has totally shaped the way I'm responding to behaviors is this idea of behavioral matching, which kind of takes all of the things we just talked about and puts it all into one. But it is this idea of matching your body, your voice, your position to what the child is doing. And that instantly like brings connection. So an example of that is if a child is sitting in the corner of the classroom and they're upset and they've got their head down and their arms crossed and they're leaning against the wall, rather than coming and standing right in front of them, which would not necessarily be wrong, but I'm looking for a way to create connection. And so I'm going to sit side by side with that child. I'm also going to cross my arms and then I'm going to start talking to have conversation.
Wow.
Just to have 30 seconds to a minute of like, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're together. I'm matching you. I'm meeting you where you're at. And then we can move forward into the conversations we need to have from here.
Wow.
And for me, that one feels the most like Jesus. I think we see him doing behavioral matching all the time of meeting people right where they're at, not leaving them where they're at, but meeting them where they're at, getting connected with them, and then bringing them where they need to go. And I am constantly like having him wreck my heart as I get to engage with kids in that way.
Wow.
Because man, I'm becoming more like him in those moments.
Yeah.
Wow. I just think of the woman bending down.
Yes.
Or the woman that's, they're getting ready to stone her.
Yes.
Caught in adultery. And then Jesus is on the ground with her,
Yes.
next to her.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Abby, I would love to have you speak to just the different parenting approaches.
Totally.
Growing up, you were just mentioning, correction doesn't have to be this scary or intense thing. And I think many of us maybe did have an upbringing where there was this authoritarian parenting approach that we were to fear our authority. And when I say fear, I don't mean a healthy fear. I mean be scared of punishment.
Yes.
And I think our generation, not everyone, but there's been a pendulum swing to the other side. And many people would call it like the gentle parenting approach. And there are some really beautiful things about that. And there's some really significant ditches. I would love for you to speak to the ditches of the passive or gentle parenting approach as you see that play itself out in children and in family dynamics.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to name. And I understand how we got there.
Yeah.
And pendulum swinging makes sense. And normal for us to maybe take things we didn't like from our childhood and go, I want to do this different, but maybe overcorrect in some ways. And I would say what makes children feel secure and makes them feel safe is knowing that someone is in charge, that there is structure that is around them. There are boundary lines. Boundary lines are actually for our good.
Yes.
And connection and nurture don't have to be at odds with structure and order.
So good.
And so we really want to find the balance of both. And so in this area of behaviors, we're leading with connection, but we're quickly following connection with correction.
Right.
And our desire is to see changed behavior, scaffolded skills, true identity being walked out. And our kids will not grow if we are not coming in with proper guidance. And they need that from us.
Wow.
And so I would say often we can hear all of the beautiful parts of connection and we want to nurture them and attachment. We want all of that, but unto scaffolding them in the skills that they need to be healthy adults that know how to do relationships well and know how to honor people and environments around them. And it's a disservice to them if we do not provide that guidance for them.
Wow.
So you're in a classroom setting and the kids are coming into the classroom, and what are some ways you can see the ditches of the gentle parenting approach?
Not moving towards behavior, not actually providing guidance of what it looks like to operate in this space. I think that lends itself easily to children feeling like they're the boss of their own lives. And it leads to a lot of disobedience and like really can actually be dysregulating for children because it doesn't feel like there's something secure that they're operating within.
Wow.
And so we're moving towards behaviors and desiring to connect with them. And then we're also providing that structure of, okay, here are the expectations. Here are the choices that you have in front of you. And then giving them the opportunity to actually walk that out and either celebrating when they hit that or helping them to experience the cause and effect of decisions that we make. And there is real cause and effect. Doesn't have to be punishment that is punitive, but there is cause and effect to decisions that we make in life. And learning that in childhood is so important.
Part of our development.
Yes.
So a parent says, but I want my child to have autonomy and free agency to make their own decisions. And if they don't want to do that activity that the teacher is telling them to do, they shouldn't have to. They should have free choice. What do you say to that?
I think that that's not real life. And we are not growing them. If we allow them to move forward in that way, they are going to struggle in every structure that they hit in life. When they get older and they have a job, they are going to have real expectations that they need to meet. When they're in a school setting, there are real expectations that the order is not a bad thing. And being able to listen and obey is not only in God's word, but it is a part of how we were designed to function.
Right.
And our children have to learn that at the earliest ages. I would say 0 to 5, even 0 to 2, key ages to start drilling into listening and obeying, listening the first time. And it will actually establish more security, more regulation in children to feel like there is structure that they're operating within.
When I think about kids, I think about if they don't have structure, if they don't have boundaries, if they don't have clear leadership, they know that this is not how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And so it's not healthy for them. And it creates a lot of chaos because they don't have the brain development to be able to make the calls. And that's just not how God designed it. When I think about even long-term, when we're talking about our call as disciples of Jesus, it's to make disciples that obey everything that Jesus has commanded us.
Yes, exactly.
And so one of the greatest ways that we can disciple children is teach them how to be obedient.
Yes.
Because if they can
Which
learn...
is almost controversial to say.
Totally.
In our culture right
Yes.
now.
Oh, I know, right? But if they can't learn, if our kids can't learn how to obey, they're going to have a lot of trouble obeying Jesus as an adult, as a teen. And so I think that that's something that as I'm reflecting going, man, obedience is the very best way and the only way that we can actually truly make disciples moving into the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yes. And I think that even goes back to this idea of how we're viewing behavior and our role within it. And so if my perspective is opportunistic, this is an opportunity for me to develop you in what you are going to need for life. Then I don't have to have traffic about requiring obedience because I'm not asking them to obey something just because it's what I want. It's not about my convenience exclusively. It is about shepherding them in the way that they should go. And children don't know on their own. They're not born knowing the way that they should go. They, like you were saying, they actually need our help to be scaffolded in that area. And so it brings safety to have that.
To train them up from the very youngest ages that they are not the God of their own life.
Right.
And that they are submitted disciples under the lordship of Jesus.
That's right.
And I mean, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is what's right. And honor your father and mother. These are, like, scripture really overtly says it. Yet because of this fear of, I don't want it to be this, and we're not saying it should be that, it shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't strike fear in your children. But at the same time, let's be careful of the overcorrection on the other side.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'd even add is when we are moving towards behaviors, we are desiring to give proper autonomy and proper places for them to partner with us. And so when we're moving towards a behavior, we're connecting, we're clarifying the expectation and the cause and effect that could come if we're not able to move forward with what is being asked. But then we're giving choice, and we're not giving choices that are, hey, you either do what I want you to do or you don't do what I want you to do.
This is good.
That's not the choices that we are giving kids, but we are giving them choice over things that are bite size, appropriate for their brain development. I do need you to sit by me, or I do need you to, let's use the example of, I do need you to come to the rug right now for story time. You can choose to sit at the back of the rug or you can sit at the front of the rug. Either choice is great with me, but I want you to pick which one you want. That's so grounding. That's so empowering for kids. And that's within the scope of what is appropriate for them to be making choice around. And so we're sharing in that moment with them, but we're not giving them the option of, well, if you don't want to join this portion with the class, you don't have to. Man, that's outside the scope of what's actually going to be good for them to decide or what they're able to decide on their own.
Wow. I've seen within myself the tendency to just want to avoid the conflict of the moment.
Totally.
Of you're not going to want either of these choices. And it's so easy to get soft in those moments.
Totally.
And it be ambiguous. And I think what you're saying about, nope, we're going to be really clear.
Yes.
They're having a behavior. We're going to connect. We're going to help them actually understand what's happened.
Yes.
And then be very slow to how we're speaking.
Yes.
Not overwhelming them with
right.
a lot of words. And then being clear with, okay, we've got, this is our choices.
Yes.
And this is the choices that you get to make. I want you to make the choice.
Right.
We're structuring their response. I'm structuring how you are going to respond in this moment. And I'm giving opportunities for choice if that's something they can handle. Oftentimes we give choices in structured moments like that. And it's still, I don't want to choose. I want to do my own way. And then I have to make that choice for you. So we give invitation for those moments. But I also think another key thing in navigating behaviors is celebrating the little wins of, if they are able to make a choice that we've given them, hey, you can sit at the back of the rug or the front of the rug, and then they hop to it and they pick one of those choices, we're quick to not hold on to the battle that we just had and instead celebrate, wow, you made the correction. We were able to redo that moment. You made the choice.
Wow.
Nice choosing.
That's a big deal.
And letting that actually rewire brains for them and for us. We were able to remedy that moment.
All right, let's dig into redos, and we call them get a rep in.
Yes.
Name the importance of getting a redo. Maybe we can even flesh out a couple examples of when a redo is needed, why it's valuable to stop. And actually, because it's inconvenient to do it again.
Yes.
Or to try again.
Yes.
But yeah, can you speak to that?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to children's brains are actively being developed as they're in the ages of, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say an age. Children's brains are actively being developed. And so there's this idea of neural pathways being established in our brains. Every time we do something and there's a response that happens, our brain is actually mapping those things to log for later. So that the next time we go back to that thing, that's what we remember. So let's use the example of, what would be a good example?
You come into the classroom and you sprint straight for the shelf of toys, and you grab the toy off and you bump all these toys over and you start playing really rough, and the other kids are kind of like, oh my goodness.
Yes. So that's our example. And if we just correct the behavior and we stop there, the brain is actually not getting a chance to rewire the experience that we just had. And it wouldn't be surprising for the next time the child comes into the room for that to be a repetitious behavior.
This is what I do when I come here.
Yes.
Wow.
When it's time to run into the time
But
to
they
go into
got
the classroom, I'm
corrected.
running.
They should know they got corrected though.
Yeah.
It's like the brain is getting developed.
Yep.
And so we can actually help the brain by redoing it in the moment right away. And so in that example, I'm coming close, I'm naming, man, I'm surprised that we came into the classroom that way. This is the expectation for how we're coming into the class. We don't walk in our classroom. We don't run in our classroom. We walk. We don't play rough with our toys. We're gentle with our toys and with our friends. And then we are helping them to actually redo that experience in real time and celebrating, wow, good redo.
Yes.
That felt so good to walk into the room, to be gentle with our friends and gentle with our toys.
So we're going, should we try that again? And we grab them by the hand and we walk out of the classroom and you go, this is gonna be awesome. And you walk in and they go over and they pick up a toy and they start playing with it. And then you're championing to your point of that's what it feels like to come in the classroom. If you're really good the next day or the next week or whenever you have them in the classroom again, you've got eyes for before they even get in that classroom. And before they even walk in, you kind of giving them a wink. I'm excited for you to come into the classroom today. Let's do it together. It's this connected relational invitation.
Yeah, they say that it takes typically 400 reps in something to build a skill. But
don't tell me that.
But get this part. If you can do it in a playful way, it takes it down tremendously, like 20 to 30 reps.
Wow.
And so if you can learn a skill in a playful, fun way, it is so much easier.
Wow.
And I think that really brings us back to, can we be connected? Can we meet children where they're at and speak their language and show value to them by responding in a way that they are going to connect with?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm authoritative and I do mean what I say. I am going to follow through on what we've talked about, but I am also going to be quick to be playful and to meet you in what you like to do and learn new skills in that space.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm even thinking about like a little older kids, and we use this tool, I don't know how many times a day, but like try again in how you're speaking. So it's like, hey, after school, we're going to, and the instant response is like, no, and whining and complaining. We'll interrupt and go, oh, try again. Take a deep breath. Are we sure we have to go to the grocery store after school today? And it's like, that's totally acceptable. But to like freak out about it, we're not going to do that because we've had the conversation of setting the standard. Of we speak with respect, we speak with kindness. So now, because we've set that standard, the whining, like I'm, we need to train our kids. We are not whining and complaining. So then when you do and you approach me that you want a snack, but the tone is whining, I'm going, oh, you want to try again? And it's with a smile, with a wink. It's warm, but kind of like, let's try again. And then they're like, oh yeah, mommy, please, can I, as a teacher, we can utilize that to actually give them the opportunity, on behavior, but also in how we are speaking.
Well, and I would say it's like all behavior is communication, but not all behavior is the same. And so what you're speaking to is, okay, you're whining. That's really different than a full-blown tantrum. And so if I respond as if we're in tantrum mode, I am actually the one escalating the situation.
Interesting.
Wow.
And we can mitigate a lot of problems, a lot of time spent in this space by doing the front end work, but also by moving on quickly if it doesn't warrant us really creating
like a deep dive.
A deep dive.
That's so good. I would love for you to speak to the caregiver being dysregulated as a parent or teacher, whatever the example is, that when you're working with children. How do I know if I'm dysregulated? For anyone that's like, we say dysregulated, what does that exactly mean? How do I know if I am?
Such a hot topic.
And what do I do if I am dysregulated? Because it's really easy to get dysregulated when your child is dysregulated.
1,000%, and is so real. I would say when we're dysregulated, it means that the upstairs part of our brain is offline. And that's like the thinking part of our brain. And so when that is happening, that might feel like we're having a fight, flight, or freeze response. But other indicators are even, man, I'm struggling to make eye contact. I'm struggling with words or being able to match my response right now to the situation at hand. So I'm feeling over responsive. My child threw their fork on the floor and I am ready to rip my hair out. It's like, ooh, that doesn't really match the circumstance at hand. Yeah. We all experience dysregulation a lot. We all have moments like that. And so just want to normalize that that's normal as a caregiver to experience moments of dysregulation, but we are not able to help the children who are needing us for their regulation.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not able to help them if we haven't been able to help ourselves. And so in the heat of the moment, I think it's so important, first of all, that we just have awareness of our own bodies and minds and where we're at. And if we are feeling dysregulated, not pushing through, but actually taking the minute or two to help our brains to actually come back online before we're moving towards and engaging. A couple of ways that I will do that often are by moving my body. So it's like physical movement can kind of help me to come out of a space where I'm feeling like my brain is feeling foggy, words are feeling like a struggle, emotions are feeling heightened. Moving my body, there's some fun studies around singing actually being something that can help your brain, your thinking brain, to come back online. And then I would also say grounding exercises, which really just means, man, I'm looking for ways to engage my five senses to help myself to feel like I'm present in my body again. And so I might be looking for, okay, what could I touch right now? What colors am I seeing in the room? All of what smells am I smelling? All of those things are engaging that cognitive part of your brain. And that is required. And so it's helping the brain to just come back online, not be in fight, flight, or freeze response mode, overly heightened mode, but to be thinking and thinking in a more like level way.
Wow. That's so good.
I just pictured Jesus hanging out in the boat.
Yes.
And everybody around him is dysregulated.
Yes.
Like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
And
it's very dysregulated.
It's very dysregulating when you think you're going to die. And he is just fully regulated.
Yes.
And how there's moments where, as parents, we feel like that internal storm. And to be able to go, I'm going to ground myself, but I'm also, and I've seen you do this many times, Abby, where you're going, man, I have to like lift my chin as well.
Yes.
And just acknowledge like, all right, there's the little whispers of Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Yes, that's right.
And that like I'm engaging with a person. And sometimes we have to engage with him, with the Lord as a person first before we're engaging with our kids. Just in split seconds.
Exactly.
I think it's been something that I can grow in more and more and more as a parent.
So that we can be a safe container.
Yes.
So that our children can co-regulate with us.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to pray.
Love it.
Lord, thank you so much for being the one that knows how to approach difficult behaviors. And thank you that you're the one that knows that when there's behaviors that happen in adults and children, that there's root systems and things underneath the surface, and that it's actually communication.
Yes.
And so, Lord, I thank you that you never left us when we had poor behavior, and instead you drew close and you locked eyes and you regulated, and you brought regulation to our souls. And so, Lord, we just thank you that you are the master co-regulator. We love you, and we want to become obedient disciples and want our future generations, our children, to be obedient disciples. So would you help us? In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.